Ooh, baby, we got an actory one for you this week.
Yeah, are you ready to chat about the state of things in Los Angeles?
Are you ready to hear about what shrimp scampi does to your body?
Do you love stand-up comedy?
Have you ever seen a person chugging out seltzer water? What did I say?
I don't know what you said. Brendan Scannell is on the program today, and we have a lot of fun conversation about this, that, and the other. Join a book club.
Join a book club. Join a rugby team. Raise your hand if you were scared.
Mom!
When your first choice is a big old bus,
You turn around and boom, you end up with a sloppy seconds. Oh, diva. Our number is 213-536-9180. Our email is sloppysecondspod@gmail.com. Now on with the show. Hi, you sloppy, you stupid, you nasty, you dirty little. Welcome to Sloppy Seconds with Big Dipper and Meatball. And Meatball, and that's Big Dipper.
how are you feeling?
I feel great. I feel alive. I feel ready for the day.
a flower child.
Yes, mommy.
You're ready
No
for
nails.
those 9 inches.
Well, let's not talk about him. He listens.
Okay. Hi, listener.
Hi, listeners.
Thanks for the pics.
Thank you for sending those pictures. And also, to my Chicago trade, I'm sorry that you have chlamydia. But to be honest, I would probably take the chlamydia. It seems worth it. Thoughts?
Let's start our show.
Please make some noise for comedian, actor, writer, and a natural ginger, Brendan Scannell!
Brendan!
Bow, 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 bow.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank
How
for
are
being
you?
here. You've really
I'm-
seen a lot in the last 5 minutes that you've been here.
Seen a lot?
Yeah, you've taken in a lot of information
Well,
from us.
Well, a lot happens before you hit record.
Mhm.
That's
Ooh.
what I've
True.
learned from this podcast.
And not from any others.
No, of course. Well, I'm famously podcast averse.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
like
I
to
guess-
be on the record.
Oh.
That's smart.
I think
actually.
we've done the thing where we've gone so far on the record that now it doesn't matter.
Right, you've said everything. So
Right.
how
Yes,
could they pick
we're
one
circling
thing?
that, yeah.
But there's always the future Io Debris moment when you're face to face with J-Lo in a dressing room.
Right, of course. I think she came out on top, I guess.
Clearly, stacking
yeah.
awards, wearing Tom Brown.
J-Lo got divorced.
J-Lo's got a divorce.
Wow.
and
Oh,
Ben
J-Lo
Affleck went
came
ahead
out on
and-
top.
No,
No,
Io did. J-Lo's the divorcee now.
Why do I think divorce is the good thing? I was like,
You're
oh,
sick.
You're sick!
it'll happen again.
Yeah, you're
It'll
gonna
happen
get
again.
canceled.
Are you divorced?
I'm not. I'm never married.
Meatball?
Nope.
Same.
I feel like you would get married in a scheme.
Oh,
Ooh.
sure.
I feel like that too.
Actually, yes. Wait,
Well-
absolutely. After their money, and then slowly be like, kill them, maybe.
That or you're the one being schemed.
Oh yeah, I'm kind
Whoa,
of dumb.
a very 90-day
Whoa,
fiance.
you really
moment.
flipped it.
Gosh, sorry, I don't mean to be running the pod.
It's okay. No, please do.
Don't you think LA is one of those cities where there are so many people who have unique marriages? Where people are like, "Oh yeah, that's my husband," and you're like, "Well, do you guys live together or like ever see one another?"
Right,
Or
boyfriend has his own apartment.
And his own
Other boyfriend
boyfriend
lives in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's paying for what?
Who's paying for what? That
That's
should be
always
the
the
city's
question.
slogan.
I once heard this story about
Okay.
this rich older gay guy in Los Angeles who will basically take on a boyfriend, in his mid to late 20s, date him for 4 or 5 years, and then put him out to pasture in a cul-de-sac. And all of his ex-boyfriends all live in the same cul-de-sac, and he bought them each houses. Isn't that
What?
What?
beautiful?
Wait, but why does he want them all
Why does he
near
want
each
them around?
other?
Well, I think he's probably a billionaire, and I think
Yeah.
he's probably a control freak. And so he's
Oh.
like, thank you so much for your 4 to 5, maybe even 7 years with me. And now it's time for you to go live on Christopher Street or whatever it's called.
Gay Street. That is
Could they date
giving
anybody
such
else?
Leonardo DiCaprio vibes because, once the girls turn 27, he goes
Right.
back down and dates a younger model.
And he just pushes them off a yacht.
Right now.
See, on the record.
There it is.
Uh-oh,
and see,
God.
now you're going to work with him, and he's going to know this.
And you'll come face to face. What kind of gay person are you?
Normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're not going out to the bars.
Oh, I go to the bars.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Gay
Oh.
people are alcoholics.
Oh,
Mm.
T. But you're like a Midwest princess, right?
I'm from the Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider myself sort of Los Angeles now. I've been
Yeah.
here like 11 years. I don't know. I can be a little freak, but I like to go out. As I'm sure your 7 to 9 listeners know. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I actually went to the video you sent me and I
Uh-huh.
looked through a bunch of them and all the comments on YouTube. And if the comments aren't positive on this podcast, I'm canceling it.
Just end it. Just delete it.
Just shut it down.
Um.
Well, you've had things canceled before.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
You went right for it.
I did. I'm curious about this. We've been talking a lot about the state of Hollywood.
Mm.
Because it's like dead now.
Well, yeah. What is the deal with that? What's your take on that? Because you've been in and out of like big projects and industry stuff, and you do comedy in the city.
I kind of feel like LA right now feels like Pittsburgh when the factories left. Like it feels like everyone's
on, American
walking
history.
around being like, I'm in a union. They're going to come back, right? And the thing is that I actually don't know if they're going to come back. And like I was driving through the valley today and they're building all these new studios on the old Warner Ranch. And I'm like, what are they building these studios for? There's nothing shooting here.
Right.
Like Universal just built all these like 5 new studios on their back lot. Okay, so like what's on them?
Are they going to just like start making other things like video games and like
Mm.
Or just a
making
bunch
like
of reality TV shows.
big studio? Yeah, they build the houses in the studios and
Yeah.
just shoot there.
Right. I don't know. I'm thinking pivot. Are you guys? Well, you guys have jobs.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
looking at
we're-
it
Yeah,
right here.
exactly.
Talking
No,
to the mic.
100%.
One of them.
No, that's that. I mean,
I didn't understand. Like a lot of my friends that are actors were explaining to me how like job insecure they are right now, and I was like, oh, sorry, people are still drinking, people are still going out to the club, so I'm fine.
People are drinking more than ever. It feels like.
Actually,
maybe
lately
not
it's
alcohol.
been slowing down. Like
Mm.
during the like right before the holidays, it slows down, and then during the holidays, it picks back up.
Right.
no, everyone's microdosing.
Everyone's on shrooms now.
Mm.
Shrooms in your coffee.
Shrooms in my McDonald's.
Love McDonald's.
Wait, what is mushroom coffee? Have you had that?
Yeah, it's not good.
It's
It's not like
it's not
psychedelic. It's
No,
just
but-
like ground up mushrooms.
It's dirt water.
Does
It's
it have
dirt water.
caffeine in
It
it?
does have caffeine in it. It
'Cause
has
the
straight up coffee
mushrooms?
in it.
Right. You
There's
add
like a
coffee.
low dose of
So
coffee
what are
in
they
it.
doing?
It's like if
They're
you want coffee
supposed
that
to-
tastes like grimy, like you can feel the dirt texture in it.
Yeah. They also say that like some mushrooms are like really good for brain function. So it's
Uh-huh.
like fake health stuff.
Oh, hashtag fake health.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It could be. I don't know the science. I'm not a scientist. But what if I was?
The
Would
same,
you wear
the same
this?
person who's like, I drink mushroom coffee is like the person who last night did like a bunch of G. And you're like,
Right.
okay, so
Okay.
how's your brain health
Oh, no,
doing?
but then you ask them about it too. You're like, okay, so you care about your brain health, but you're also doing a bunch of and they're like, it's all about balance. It's what you got to do.
Well, I mean, if another slogan for this city is "It's all about balance," because there are people whiling out and then at 6 a.m. doing yoga in the park, and you're like, how on earth?
Cocaine.
Or because they don't have a job, and that rich
Mhm.
billionaire gay guy pays them to live in the cul-de-sac.
Would
Hi,
you
I
ever
wish.
would you like that to have a rich billionaire husband and then he puts you out to pasture?
It would depend on the person. You know, I would actually have to feel like I connected with him in some way.
Oh, interesting. See, I feel like I could connect with the money real well.
You're
Well, that
like-
would help.
You're like, I'll just find a little spot on his body I could fall in love with and then connect to the money.
Where's
real
the
well.
smoothest skin?
I mean, do you think Anna Nicole Smith loved her
I do.
husband?
I actually think,
I think
she
she
did.
convinced herself that
Mhm.
she did.
yeah.
She cared for him.
Yeah.
In his darkest days.
She was there.
Hmm.
Love that.
Anna.
All right,
Nicole,
let's-
She's so outrageous. Do you remember that show?
Was that her reality TV show?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that
It was
show.
so good.
She was coherent like the first season, right?
Yes. And then it went downhill.
Kind of this
Kinda
Paula
sad.
Abdul story of her reality TV show.
Why is Paula Abdul performing live and then huffing oxygen on
Have you
stage?
seen that video?
What?
They literally bring out an oxygen tank and she puts it on and she like breathes in and she goes, "This isn't a bit. This is being 70." And then she gets back to dancing.
Maybe she's right. I don't know. I can't. She's still dancing. She's 70.
Something like that.
She is not
I don't
70.
think she's
There is
70.
no way
But
Paula Abdul is
if she's
70.
65, my mom was a much more active 65 than her.
I just Googled how old is 70 because my brain can't. Paula Abdul is 62.
That's 70 in gay
No, it
years.
isn't.
Yeah.
Give her
She-
8 more
honestly,
years.
Put her out to pasture.
62 is very different from 70.
Yeah,
if you
sure.
spent a time with a 70-year-old and then a 62-year-old.
But I'm like, if you're huffing oxygen, I guess she probably loves it, loves to perform. But I'm like, employ the holographic technology that ABBA is using and tour like that.
I think I could fall in love with a 62-year-old. I don't know if I could fall in love with a 70-year-old, and I don't know if that's ageist.
It is. But
But it's just like, I feel like if 70, you're sort of committing to being a caretaker, where 62,
Yes.
you could be like, let me be the penultimate twink and then you one more and you
Yeah.
give me my house.
I always think about that. I sort of exclusively was dating older men for a while, and now I'm sort of at the age of the men that I was dating. So now I'm like, well, I'll just date my same age. But
so you're
That-
autistic.
excuse me?
What?
So, but that whole idea of like when you're dating older, there's something in the back of your brain that always knows like I might have another chapter after this.
Mm.
But the older person doesn't think that. Can't you? That's
I
common
don't think
sense.
70 is that old, to be completely honest.
I agree with you.
I feel like men die at like 74.
I used to think 50 was very old.
yeah.
Bless you. You're both 50, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Bless
That's
you.
accurate. In Meatball's age spectrum,
Her
we
insides
are
are 50.
They are. They've rotted.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Helix.
Baby girl, my Helix, that's what I love to do at night. Sleep in my bed. It feels so good. I'm like, oh, this bed, I took a quiz. I figured out what works for me. I made a decision and I got a bed. Like, that's a big adult decision to be like, I'm doing a mattress that is going to benefit me. I do not sleep as well when I'm not on my Helix mattress. That is for dang sure.
Every time, I say it every single time, but whenever I'm traveling, all I think about is when I get home, I'm going to lay down in my bed
And
and
sleep
I'm going
like
to pass out. And I sleep
babe.
so hard my first day back because it's like I miss this bed that I picked, that was basically picked for me, by me. And a quick 2-minute sleep quiz.
That's right. We all sleep differently. So how will you know which Helix mattress works best for you and your body?
Take the Helix sleep quiz and find
Yeah.
your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes.
Then your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge.
Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night sleep trial to try out a new Helix mattress.
And if you don't love your Helix, they'll pick it up for you and you get a full refund.
Helix has a special offer during the month of November.
If you go to helixsleep.com/sloppy, you can get 25% off site-wide plus 2 free dream pillows with any mattress purchase.
They'll even give you a free bedding bundle, including 2 dream pillows, a sheet set, and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order.
Find the mattress made for you.
Go to helixsleep.com/sloppy today.
That's helixsleep.com/sloppy.
The holiday season is just around the corner, and we're all looking for ways to spend less and stress less.
That's right. We want to do both of those things less, and HelloFresh makes mealtime nearly hassle-free with delicious, home-delivered, chef-crafted recipes that come together quickly and are less expensive than takeout.
That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And that's why I love it, because I never have to think about like, oh, when I get home, I'm gonna have to chop up a million different vegetables. I gotta do this. I gotta swing by the grocery store because I don't have food at home. It's all there, ready to go for me.
And portioned out. I just made prosciutto-wrapped chicken breast.
Oh yeah, that one's good.
And I was like, I would never elevate what I'm cooking to this. It would always just be like a chicken breast in the pan, and this was prosciutto wrapped, and then that amazing couscous with the sweet potatoes cut up into it was so good. And the sauces. I love sauces.
Always love to talk about these.
I love sauces and I love condiments, but when I cook for myself just from my brain, like make this vegetable, make this protein, I never think about a sauce. And I love all the sauces in the HelloFresh recipe. Whether you're craving hearty comfort food, trying to please picky eaters, or looking for a calorie-smart meal plan, HelloFresh has all those options and more available on a rotating menu of 50 recipes to choose from every week.
Plus, check out HelloFresh Market for over 100 add-on items like desserts, quick breakfasts, snacks, and a lot more.
Love those breakfasts, those egg bites.
The little egg bites changed my life.
This month, they even have Thanksgiving items to help wow a crowd with minimal effort on your part. Not that anyone has to know, so keep that secret to yourself.
Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free sloppy.
Applied across 7 boxes, new subscriptions only, varies by plan.
That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free sloppy.
All one word, free sloppy.
Free sloppy.
And we're back.
We're back.
Now, we were talking about Hollywood. You landed a really big role and shot a whole TV show, and it was slated to come out, and then it didn't come out.
Right.
Which it was called Heathers, and it
Yes.
was a remake of the original movie into a TV show.
Which are always great ideas.
They are.
Yeah.
But everyone was really excited for this.
Yeah,
and
it
then
was
it
really
didn't.
fun. Honestly, it's the most, probably the most fun I've ever had on set.
Yeah.
And then, it just kind of never came out. Although it came out internationally.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, people did end up watching it.
Yeah, I got recognized in Amsterdam a couple years ago. And when I get recognized, people are often they'll recognize me from Bonding, the Netflix show I was on.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend was like, hey, he's going to talk to you about Bonding. And I was like, okay, don't sound so annoyed by my life. And then the guy was like, no, I didn't see that. I loved Heathers. And I was like, I never hear that. Thank you.
You have to leave the country to
Right.
hear it.
And that must be. I mean, we all produce stuff, on our own. We're putting up live shows and parties, and all of these podcasts. But to spend so much money on a huge television show like that, and then the network to be like, we're not putting it out. Was it something to do with school shootings? Right, that's why it didn't come out.
Yeah, it was something to do with that, and some Paramount Network had. It seemed like kind of developed a show that the corporate higher ups weren't comfortable airing,
Because
and
you were gay.
yeah,
Because you were a Heather.
because I was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His acting.
They were like,
It's
he's
wait a minute, that
so
little ginger one
gay.
is
Right.
too good.
Exactly. But yeah, so it never really came out in the United States, and it was actually canceled 3 times. It was going to come out in in
I
February or
remember this.
March,
Yeah.
and 2 weeks before, it got pushed indefinitely, and then they were like, it's going to come out in May. And then they announced its May release date, and then it got pushed again, and then it was gonna come out in October, and then half of it came out, and then some of the episodes never aired because, this bleak.
So wild.
But it was kind of my first big job, so I obviously went to Europe and spent all the money I made,
Gag.
and then. But really early on discovered they can kind of do whatever they want. So you just sort of have to enjoy the process of it
Yeah.
because nothing's ever guaranteed.
What did you how have you approached future projects like Bonding, for instance?
Well, that was
there
kinda-
something in the back of your head that was always skeptical after this experience?
Well, that was kind of the opposite experience where that was an independent project that had been independently produced that writer Doyle wrote and directed, and then it got bought by Netflix. So then the second season was produced by, they just kind of they stamp on the first season and then they produced the second season. So that was one I actually never expected anyone to see.
Oh.
So it kind of is like I always say, like the thing you think is going to be huge won't be,
Right.
and the things that you do because you really like it might be, or it
Interesting.
won't be.
Or
And
it
are
won't.
you into kink? Or was that just a
Um,
fun idea for you?
I can get into kink.
Oh.
Yeah, that was definitely. I definitely have had people come up to me at events and sort of. I'm sure they do this to you as a drag queen, where they're like, "I love drag," but they'll be like, "I love piss." I'll be like, I'm so glad you could feel seen by me.
Thank you so much. My friend was actually in 1 or 2 episodes of that. Amy
Really?
Bettina, she was like the driver.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
Oh
her.
my God. So funny.
She's so crazy.
Yeah.
We were in acting school together and she was insane. She could cry on command and it made everyone so mad.
I love her.
She's so good.
Amy, wherever you are.
I love
I
you.
think you live in really far northern Manhattan, if I remember correctly.
She does. And whenever I go to New York, I try to see her. She's so
Yeah.
fun. We meet up at McManis. Do you know that bar?
No, what's McManis?
Oh my God, it's this old Irish bar that we used to always go to after school because we were underage and they would let us drink. And there's a toothless lady who drinks white wine with ice cubes in it. And every time I go, she's still there. And I know one day I'm going to show up and she won't be there. And that means she's dead.
There'll be a little plaque.
Probably.
I love an ice cube in white wine. Just one little cube.
Just the one.
It's a very classy move.
I saw a guy drinking red wine with ice cubes in it the other day.
Oof.
My dad does that sometimes.
No, what? Why?
Why?
Because red is like kind of
Cool
bitter.
it down. Hot wine. You know, the hot wine.
Hot
Hot
wine.
wine.
Oh, Glühwein?
Like mulled wine.
Oh, like-
That's German, right?
Yeah, yeah. Where they put all the spices in it.
Mhm. Mulled wine.
Yeah,
Wassail.
it's the season for mulled wine. And
They
like
used to make
hot
that at my church, and they
cider.
called it wassail.
They have all that hot cider in the wassail.
Wassail.
What'd you call me?
What?
They have all
It's a
that
new slur for gingers.
hot cider in the Delta Lounge.
Ugh.
I know. I'm like, it's like 8 a.m. They're like, hot cider?
I'm an American boy.
Really?
Oof,
Yeah.
You've never had the pleasures.
Well, Delta doesn't fly to Chicago, which is where I
I know,
fly LA to
yes.
Chicago, and that's like where my family is. So I do American, and I do right by them.
Yeah, okay.
What's their lounge like?
The flagship lounge is fabulous, and the Admiral's Lounge, it does the trick.
The Admiral's Lounge.
Admiral. So we just get Delta Sky Lounge. I want to be an admiral.
Well,
Honey.
you can go to that Criterion Club where they show the movies. What's the MX Lounge called? It's not Criterion, but
I don't know.
cool.
Great.
You guys should get sponsored by a lounge.
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? We should make our own lounge. Sloppy Seconds Lounge.
Yeah, everyone just goes in there and like eats Jello.
I think I've been in that. It's a bathroom stall, right?
Yeah, and
Terminal
everyone
4.
walks up and says, "I love piss."
All the way
I
to
love
the back.
this.
They say, "Don't touch my." But
Don't
we
touch
can
my.
cross streams.
We can cross streams, but don't touch my.
Comedy
Mhm.
Ugh.
jokes.
Sure.
Because you have like acting background and obviously are an actor. When were you like, and also I'll do stand up?
Sorry,
Sorry.
I'm fighting.
She's just so sickened by the idea that someone
Fighting
would
the
do stand-up
demons.
comedy.
Ugh. Ugh.
She's tried.
I've succeeded.
I'm sure you would.
You, on the other hand, go up there and read off a piece of paper.
That's my shtick.
You
Because
don't even memorize?
too busy to memorize it. I just write it out.
He writes it on the way there,
And I dictate it to my phone and then I'll read it out. I show up. I'm like,
and
you
it
guys
only
have
and it only worked once.
I was like, you guys have a printer?
Do you ever go to the weddings now and people are like giving their
It's
speeches
the
and
worst.
they're like, Abby, when we met, I knew things were always going to be different. And I'm like, when people are looking at their phone, I want to look at my phone.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I can't listen to you.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
No, they should
and you're doing
write,
stand up.
pull their parchment out. I'm like answering messages. You know when
On
you're talking to
stage.
someone, but then you slowly stop because a text came through and you're trying.
That's
to
why I
read it.
literally can't have my phone around me if I'm ever trying to get anything done, because I will just zone in on it.
I love that thing.
I love that thing.
Love that kind
phone.
of.
I have an iPhone 11 because I don't want to get an upgrade because I
Mhm.
think if I got a newer one, I would just look at it more.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I'm like waiting for this thing to brick out.
I'm with you right there. So tell us about stand-up.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you love it?
Yeah,
When'd you
I do
start?
love it. I started when I first moved here.
11 years ago.
Basically, yeah. I started doing open mics and started meeting gay people that way. And then through Twitter, kind of. I remember when you could meet people on Twitter?
Yeah.
And that's actually how I met a lot of my friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because there was like that moment when it was like really like good for comedy writers to be on
Right.
Twitter.
Exactly. And so then I stopped doing stand up during the pandemic, and it took me like a while to come back, but I'm back in a big
Back,
way.
baby. Does it intimidate you to do an hour? How do you remember it all?
Yeah.
You got to read it off your phone?
Right. I have a little notebook that has like a set list, but this won't be my first time doing it, so
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
What was it like coming back after the pandemic? Like, did you feel really rusty? Or were you just like, oh, I got to get back into it?
I kind of think I'd actually, I had lost the need to be on stage and express myself in that way. Like I had convinced myself that I didn't like doing it anymore, that I didn't like being out and doing it. There were probably drag queens like this
Oh,
who are
yeah.
just like,
Done.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I stopped performing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
No,
had as
literally.
well.
Literally, I do not lip sync anymore. I hate it.
You don't do it at all?
No,
No.
she just hosts.
You're so funny.
I just hate it.
Really?
So she just gets on the mic
I just
and
get on the
yells
mic
at
and
people
yell
and
at
throws
people
her
for
party.
like 4 hours and throw a party, and then I'm done. And then I talk on this thing.
Great. So you're finding a way that you can do what you love to do in a way that works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what she loves to do is get attention.
sure.
And the path to that is the drag. She hates the drag.
Get into it.
I think I had sort of like I had a lot of weird stuff happening in my personal life and with my family, and so it became really difficult for me to want to go on stage and tell jokes about things that were observational.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And then I kind of like got the bravery internally. I don't know, not brave to do stand up.
No, I think
But
it's
to be like,
brave.
I'm going to like actually talk about stuff that's really personal and real on stage,
Yeah.
and that's what made me start to be like, oh, I have to keep doing this again, in a fun way.
Yeah.
in a fun
Yeah.
way.
It's
That's always, yeah.
it's such a muscle, and like when you go out and you see people do it and you can like tell someone who is so practiced,
Mm.
you know, versus someone who's like
Reading
wrote
off
it
their
that
phone.
day and reading it off a piece of paper. Like it's really an impressive feat. And then when you see someone who's like really good and you're like, how long have you been doing this? And they're like 10 years. And you're like,
Right.
oh, got
Yeah,
it.
that makes sense.
That makes sense.
And I do think it is brave, especially because like you are being so vulnerable up there sometimes. Even though you're being funny, it's like sometimes it's hard to like talk about yourself and your family in that way.
Mm. And sometimes I'm just not good. Like sometimes I'll get up there and I'll be like, oh, that set sucked, or I was pushing, or I wasn't connected, or
Right.
I tried something new that didn't work. So you kind of
What
have
did
to
you
like
just say to me?
be okay with
Tried
not
something
being
new and
good.
it didn't
Didn't
work.
Honey, my dating life.
Oh, no more Amsterdam boyfriend?
Actually, I'm in a 5-year relationship.
Okay,
That was
so-
just,
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
let's see if it makes it. To, everyone's got a boyfriend.
do they?
Not us.
Well,
Why?
you did forever.
I did. I just got out of a 6-year relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
Congratulations.
Thank
See,
you
for
so
me, I'm
much.
like the
Yeah,
divorce,
divorce,
the
you're
breakup,
winning.
You're winning. No, I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and every part of the conversation, like he just got out of a relationship, and every sort of turn of the conversation was back to like when he thought he could date again and how was he going to find his next boyfriend.
Well,
and I was
yeah.
like, whoa, my brain is just like so not wired like that.
No.
And I know your brain is. You're looking.
No.
You're
Now I'm done.
you're
Now I'm
reveling-
back to being
I don't do
single.
that anymore.
You're reveling
Yeah.
in your single behavior, but in the back of your mind, you're always thinking about your next boyfriend.
No, not anymore.
That's not true.
I've changed my ways.
Since when?
Literally, I was like last week. I was like,
Okay.
I don't need a man in my house.
Get
I'm like Whoopi Goldberg. I don't want no man in my house.
get ye to the nunnery.
I'm not gonna be a nun. I'm still gonna like have sex with whoever I want. I was just the other day in the bathroom. Edit that out.
It's beautiful.
That's her place of work.
And yes, and the bathroom is my office,
And well,
and that is where I do some of my best work.
Mm.
um,
I feel like it's, generally hard to date in Los Angeles and
This
just
town
has a
is
gay
crazy.
Yeah, this town
person.
is impossible to date in, and then try also being a drag queen. Like it's just not
Right.
gonna happen. Or they're too into the drag, and they're like, "Let me try on a wig,"
Mm,
and I'm like, "That room is closed to you.
right.
Don't let me put a lock on
Mama's
that
wig
door."
room.
Oh, that's a good
Have
idea.
you ever started dating somebody and then they're like, I'm doing drag now?
Ooh,
Sometimes
you
that
would hate
happens.
I would
that.
hate
You
that.
would hate
I would. I
that.
can't imagine dating another drag queen.
Mm.
They're disgusting. No, I don't know. I feel like that's my job.
Well,
was
you
talking to a
like to be
friend
the
recently.
star.
I
Yeah.
was talking to a friend recently who does improv, and he started dating a new guy, and then the guy was like, I want to start doing improv. And my friend got the ick,
Yeah.
you know? Who wants to watch somebody
Would you
start
date?
improv?
No,
Yeah.
come to my 101 class.
No.
Speaking of classes, wasn't Dipper your teacher at some point?
So get this.
Get this. Catch this.
Catch this. I'm 17. I go to theater camp, and can we call
Yeah.
you that?
We'll bleep it.
We'll bleep
but you
it.
can call
But
me
yeah,
that. Wow.
Big
at
Dipper
6401.
was one of my counselors.
Yeah.
And you had blue hair.
I did.
What?
That was a very rough year for the way that I looked. I
Was this
had-
when it was in corners or long?
No, I just had blue hair,
Mhm.
and
You were
I
one of them blue haired
had
liberals.
Very much so.
I had like a weird goatee. I think I had mutton chops at one point. I was like trying to do a hipster look. It was bad, but I had just graduated from college.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm from like a small town in Indiana. Didn't really know like gay adults, and
And
to
you
me,
saw
were-
that
I
and
was
you
an
were literally
adult.
like-
You were
Yeah,
an
I was
adult to me.
22.
Yeah, exactly, and I loved that. That was a super formative experience for
Gay
me.
adult.
Just being like, oh, like these people are living who they are and happy and have blue hair, but it's okay.
And
Now,
there
would
were-
you say he was a particularly mean teacher? Because there was an instance where he had to get a talking to for being too mean to 8-year-olds.
8-year-olds.
This was like 2 years earlier. I was teaching at like a community day camp
Mm.
that was an arts camp, and there was a theater part of it. And I was directing a production of Peter Pan with like kids. And they like weren't getting the choreography. I was in the back of the room going, no, no, no. And there was like a mom sitting in, and I got like pulled aside, and she was like, you need to chill. The like whole program director.
Sounds like they didn't want their kids to be a star.
Exactly.
No, I
I
don't
say it
know.
all
Did
the
I
time,
have you in
theater is
class?
just about
I don't think I
trauma.
had you in class.
I don't think you had me. I don't think I was in your class, but
Yeah.
I remember you, and
Yeah,
I
I
remember
remember
I
you
had
too.
friends in the play that you directed,
Right.
The Devil and Billy Markham.
A Shel Silverstein poem that I adapted to be a play for
Mhm.
16 young people.
And then I remember after, because we didn't have really cell phones or like laptops at that time, so we all went back to our Facebooks and stuff and found you and found out that you were also a rapper.
Right. Because that was
The
like the
reveal,
year or
the
two
grand
before.
reveal.
Well, I hadn't started yet, and it was like 2
Mm.
years later, and then I got fired.
Mm.
Because
For
they
rapping.
were like, you have music videos on the internet that are gay and sexual, and that's a liability to be a teacher at our program. Because they didn't want to deal with the parents calling,
Ugh.
so they fired me.
That's like teachers now that have
Drip,
OnlyFans.
drip, drip, ba-da-dip, ba-da.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Deep in the forest,
All right.
the baby animals awake.
Thank you so much.
That's how it starts.
I remember.
Oh, sure.
But there have been so many people who came out of that program who are like all over the entertainment world, and I bump into people all the time who I like remember meeting throughout the course of that program. And speaking of gay adults, I had a secret love affair that summer
You
with
did?
another faculty member.
Thank God. I had a
I'm-
secret love affair that summer with another camper.
Go on.
Really? I heard did we have it on this podcast?
I got my first boyfriend at that. event.
Really?
Yeah, we like left as boyfriends,
And then
That's
only communicated on
exciting.
Facebook.
basically.
Where
Yeah.
did he live?
He lived in Chicago, so I actually
it's
was
not too
able to go
far.
visit him, and we had a great weekend. And then we decided that we had too much academics to focus on for our senior year.
When I was at school, because I was in high school at a boarding school, you would find out about all the counselors that were hooking up. I don't know if we called them counselors. RAs? People that lived in
It's
our hall?
teachers.
No, they weren't teachers. They were just like, they lived in our dorm room halls.
Yeah.
And they were
School,
the
that's
adult that we
chic.
would
Yeah,
like
like an
talk to.
RA.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Like Greenwich?
Oh,
She
no,
went
I
to
went to
Interlaken.
Interlaken.
Oh, okay.
Where you from? Greenwich?
Greenwich?
Where you from?
Far north.
Gotta sell these papes. Remember Newsies?
Oh, yeah. Crutchy.
You can still be a newsie. You're so young looking.
Crutchy.
There's a character who
Wait,
wears crutches. His name's Crutchy.
We gotta change that. We gotta get in on that script and change
Call
that.
Kenny Ortega.
Kenny Ortega.
Director of High School Musical, Newsies. He directs a lot of stuff for Disney.
Mm.
Santa Fe.
Son of a... Isn't that Christian Bale?
It sure is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of singing,
Mm-hmm.
why is musical comedy like, I always think when they like put new people on SNL, they're always like, they gotta have a voice or at least carry a tune. You know what I mean? Why is that like such a thing, musical comedy?
You mean like comedy where people are like, I wrote original songs
Yes.
that are comedic?
Yeah, or they're always like this is just such a perfect example, but like recently like Bowen did that Brat sketch and they ended it with a song that didn't like it was like two sentences of a song. And I get it because Charlie XCX is a singer. I feel like they're always putting songs into musical comedy as like jingles or songs or whatever. I don't know.
I feel like that's a really New York style of comedy
Yeah.
because so many people there are
Broadway.
like, I'm a
Triple
like, or
threat.
like even like drag queens who sing.
Yes.
You know,
Which
that
they all
does
need
not
to stop.
stop.
Most of them are not good.
Who?
I can't say because you won't bleep it.
I will. You're so
Well, there's always like, I feel like in every season of Drag Race, there's like one drag queen who's like, you clearly went to school for musical theater, and then
Yes.
somewhere when you were like 27, you were like, I can't keep trying to get these chorus boy parts. I'm gonna put a wig on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call that weaponizing their BFA.
Yes, that's basically what it feels
Jan.
like they're doing.
Janice. But
Jan.
then the opposite has happened because the queen who was just on the show, Marsha, left and
And
is
is like
now
on
in Cabaret.
Wow.
And
on
Jan's on
Broadway.
Broadway too with Drag the Musical.
Well, it's off Broadway.
And Jinx was in.
you won't let her have anything, will you?
It's not for me
Little
to
Shop of
have.
Horrors.
Jinx was so good in Little Shop, and she was so good in Cabaret. Or no, Chicago.
Chicago.
She wasn't in Cabaret.
Yeah.
I sat front row for Chicago, which don't do at a Jinx show. She's a spitter.
Ha!
We were getting rained on down there.
And you said rain.
Rain.
Hey,
on
sing it, don't
me.
spray it.
But yeah, Little Shop was really good. That
Yeah.
theater is weird.
I haven't
Did you
been,
see it?
that's what I hear.
Seats. Very tiny.
Seats are very small, and it's like you walk into just what looks like a apartment building, and like go upstairs, and the theater's like on the second floor. It was really weird,
It's great.
but beautiful time. Beautiful time.
Beautiful time. Was had
Wish
by all.
Corbin Blue.
Corbin
was-
Blue. Back
he
to
was not in
High School
mine.
High School
Musical.
Musical.
Back to Kenny Ortega.
I got the
It all
understudy.
comes back to Crutchy, ultimately.
It always comes back to Crutchy.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.